Hello, everyone. This is Cece Shatz, and you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And we are on the Author's Corner, Meet the Author. And of course, you know, we're going to embrace Going Solo with Cece and also all of our wonderful other shows here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. You're listening to GoingSoloMedia.com. And again, I'm Cece Shatz. I'm the Doyenne of relationship building. And what that means is I really help take you through probably some of the darkest times in your life, building you up and moving you through to living the life of your choice. And we do that in many ways. We connect people, and we really bring on some awesome hosts and guests on our platform. And we really connect you to the professionals that we think are going to help you move you through to that next level. And so we're going to do that right here today. And without further ado, we're going to bring our guest right on board. Let's bring her up. Right here she is, and that's Sara. Sara, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Cece. I'm happy to be here.
It's great to have you. Sara is, her name is Sara Zeff Geber, right? Did I pronounce it right?
Geber. It's just like
Geber. We went through this before, so it's Geber. Sara Zeff Geber. She's a PhD, certified retirement coach, and a professional speaker, author. And she wrote a terrific book, which we're going to talk about here on the platform. It's called The Essence Retirement Planning for Solo Agers and a Retirement and Aging Roadmap for Single and Childless Adults. Well, welcome. I love having you here.
Thank you.
You know what? I think this is such an important topic because we don't think about it when we're younger, right? We don't think about retirement. And we were told, all along, we're always told, think about your retirement, think about your retirement. But here we are. And so tell us a little bit about what inspired you to actually be a certified retirement coach?
Well, you know, Cece, I had a career as a management consultant and a lot of coaching. And I noticed that about, 10 years ago, I noticed that a lot of my executive coaching clients were starting to want to talk more about their retirement plans than their strategic plans. So I thought, you know, something's in the wind here. And they were about the same age as me. They were baby boomers. And I started listening to and talking myself about retirement planning. And a lot of my friends were talking about it. And I thought, gosh, there's just nobody to really help us with that transition. And a lot of us don't have any role models for that transition. So I started to investigate what there was in the way of training for retirement coaches. And I found what I needed, learned a lot about the psychology of retirement, learned a lot about gerontology, that's the study of aging. And I became fascinated by it. So I started doing retirement transition coaching. And then about, 4 years or so into that, I was talking with a friend who was telling me about her recent 3-month stint on the other side of the country, taking care of her father-in-law. Now, her father-in-law was in his mid-90s, and he had done fine up until that point, but he couldn't quite manage on his own anymore, and he just refused to move into any kind of assisted living. So she and her husband took turns spending several months at a time with him. And again, that was 3,000 miles away. So I looked at that, and she also, like my husband and I, none of us have children. And I said to her, you know, I wonder who's going to do that for us. And the answer, of course, was no one. So then I realized that there was this other issue out there. And I called it solo aging. And initially, my definition of a solo ager is anyone who didn't have children, whether they were married or not. And then I began to listen to the feedback that I was getting. And a lot of the feedback was that there are a lot more solo agers out there than just people who don't have kids, even though that in itself is a very large number. So I've expanded that definition now to mean really anyone who's aging alone for any reason. You may not have a partner, and I suspect a lot of you, if you're listening to this program, don't have a partner. Or you may not have a partner for a lot of different reasons. You may be divorced, you may be never married, you may be a widow or widower. So there's a lot of people out there beyond those who don't have kids that need the information that I finally put in a book, because there was so much demand for it, and just seemed like the right thing to do.
I'm sorry, we're having a little bit of trouble with the internet here. So I think so many people are on the internet where it's kind of mucking up. But, you know, I totally get this. I totally understand it. And I like the idea about the transition part, because we so often don't think about retirement because we want to put it off. But what we really need to think about is that transition that we're going to need to be making with regards to our retirement. Yeah. And also, I can totally relate, because I help take care of my father, and there are 6 kids in our family, and you know, it seems like I'm the one that is kind of doing it now. And so, you know, and I'm single. So it's like, wow, you know, it's because I'm single, they think, oh, well, because you're single, you can do it. You have more time on your hands. It's like, well, wait a minute. If I had a partner, it would help, certainly would help. But, you know, here's the deal, is that there's so many elements with regards to retirement. And I love the idea of your book, and I want to make sure that everyone has the name of it, because the you know, the essential retirement planning for solo agers. I like the idea that you have, yeah, let's hold it up there so everyone can see. Perfect. That's great. I like the idea that not only does it touch on the retirement for ourselves, but it also touches on what we have to do if we find ourselves having to take care of someone else, you know, and the fact that who's going to take care of us? How are we going to start making that, you know, that transition into retirement? And so it's not only just, you know, just right before you retire, but it's in the middle of retirement, and then really kind of towards the end of all the essence things that you have to do. So tell us a little bit about like some steps and things that we could do to share with our listeners.
Sure. The first thing that people generally need to do is to get over their resistance to the idea of getting older. Mm-hmm. And know that we all get older. Everyone is going to go through some of the same kinds of transitions, right, and accept our age and accept all that comes with aging. And it's certainly not all negative. And then to really give some thought about where we want to live as we get older, what we want to be doing with our lives. If you are still working now, you may love your job and want to do your job or continue your business or whatever it is that brings you income, notwithstanding the fact that everybody's unemployed right now. But start to think ahead about what you might want to see when you're in your 60s, your 70s, your 80s, your 90s, and look at the role models that are out there now. Mm-hmm. I was not fortunate enough to have parents who lived into their 80s. And so I didn't really have the experience of a parent growing older on my watch. But so many of my friends and contemporaries do. I have friends who have parents in their 90s, some with parents that are over 100 now. So recognizing that people are living longer, we must recognize that we too will live longer, and that not only do we need to think about where we want to be as we get into those later years, but also, of course, how we're going to support ourselves. These days, if people continue to think about retirement as something they do at 65, realize that you may well have another 30 years to live beyond that. And have you contributed enough to a retirement plan? Do you have enough savings? Have you inherited a pile of money? And if all of the answers to that are no, then we need to think about working longer than the typical retirement age of 65. And of course, everybody's story is different. So it's important for each person to really take stock of where you are at this point in life and think about the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And just saying here where we're at now in today's world, here we're kind of like having to stay home. We're not able to actually go out in there and work. It really kind of gives us a wake-up call that we need to start putting our house in order. And so we should take this time, and I've been doing it, and I know a lot of my friends too, is start being creative. Start looking at your life and evaluating for what it is, and think in the areas of what you want to do for change, what changes that you want to make. And so as we're doing that, I think thinking about our retirement, thinking about our futures is of essence, and we most certainly should be doing that. So I feel like your book is really here for today, so that we need to be it as a wake-up call for us, because we don't know what the future holds. And so if we don't start planning for the future, we're just not going to go anywhere. And without a plan, you don't have a roadmap of where you're going to go. And if we can change things, but we need that roadmap. We need to be able to start figuring that out. So not only evaluating our retirement for ourselves, but also thinking the game plan of our parents, if what that's going to have, where do we see ourselves with that? And so I think it's a great idea to maybe talk with your family members, start trying to, say what happens when things happen with mom and dad. What are we going to do about it? How can we kind of figure that out? Look at our finances, look at their finances.
Absolutely.
And yeah, instead of it used to be, everybody kept we never really talked about that stuff, right?
And a lot of people still don't. So you may find it actually quite challenging to talk to your parents about what they want in their later years, because people have just been somehow taught, and not overtly taught, but somehow by osmosis, we've all gotten the impression that old age and death are taboo topics. And we need to get rid of that idea. We need to really open up and talk about what we want, not only in our 60s and 70s, but in our 80s and 90s, and what we want in the final days of our lives. We need to actually start talking about death. So it's never too early to start talking to your family members, as Cece has suggested. Brothers, sisters, parents, and of course, children, if you have them. My father did a wonderful thing for me. He really gave me quite a gift. He started very early to talk to me about his own death. And I wasn't ready to hear that. I was probably 18 or 20 years old the first time that he took me downstairs and opened the file drawer and said, now here's where I keep the important papers, and here's where the safe deposit key was, because people had safe deposit boxes back then. And he said, and I want to drive you out to the funeral home and the cemetery where I've purchased a plot. And I said, Dad, I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk about your death. But he insisted, and he finally wore me down and did all of those things. He showed me where everything was. He took me to the cemetery. He showed me where his burial plot was. And it was very premature. He didn't die for another, 20 years. And every 5 years or so, he'd refresh the talk. But I'll tell you what, when he finally did die at age 75, which seems so young now, I knew exactly what to do. And through my anguish and grief over his passing, which was rather sudden, I knew what to do. It was just like turnkey when I realized I had to put some things in motion. So there's really no greater gift you can give your kids than to do that. And if you can convince your own parents to do it for you, it's a blessing.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I worked years ago with a probate attorney. And so we used to always say all the time, the biggest gift you can give your family is a will. It's, to really start working it out, making it easier for your family and during that difficult time. So when we're looking at our retirement, we're looking at more than just money, even though money is, of course, the crucial element of what we need to be able to retire. But we also need to look at the whole big picture of everything. And so I like your book because I think that's what it does. It really opens our eyes to the fact that there's a lot more planning involved to retirement than to just build a retirement account, even though we need that. But it really does open it up to a lot of issues and a lot of thinking that we need to do.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I really do think it's very, very important. And I'll share with you that my grandfather did the same thing with me. I thought the same thing. What are you doing? Jinx it. Don't put, you're talking about it. Don't do that. But he did. He showed me everything. And when he did pass, my grandmother didn't know, and she just was in pieces. And it helped her a lot because I could just go right in. I knew right where everything was. We sorted everything out. And it just made things a lot more comfortable, a lot more easier in which to deal with. So
what a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope that we'll be able to do that with everyone here. I hope that they will be able to understand what they need to start doing. And I like the idea of embracing our age. And I will share with you a funny story, because here we're going through this crisis, of course, with the virus. And my daughter calls me up and she says, some of the grocery stores are having this senior citizens, hour. So you can go in beforehand, right? And I said to her, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, Mom, you're a senior citizen. I said, oh, yes, I'm a senior citizen. And that's funny because I know that I'm a senior citizen, but I just, I still haven't embraced the fact that I am a senior citizen. So, and then many times I've thought to myself, well, I don't want to go there with that, thinking about that age thing. But I have to start thinking that, the end of my life could be coming, the demise of myself, and what I want to leave behind. I want to make sure that, I have it all in order. So, and then also I want to live a long time. So I need to get my retirement sorted and a plan made so I can have fun in my senior citizen days.
And I think that's a big part of my message to people is get your house in order so that you can enjoy those last decades of your life, because there may be several decades left of life for you if you start winding down somewhere in your 60s or 70s. So we are living a lot longer, and we need to ensure that we stay healthy. We need to ensure that we take good care of our bodies in all ways, eating nourishing foods, taking care of keeping our muscles in good shape by working out and doing whatever it is you do to keep yourself in shape. It's important to do that well into your later years. And that's what a lot of people are starting to do. And it's one of the big reasons why people are living longer. The good nutrition and the good care that we take of our bodies really shows up when you look at the statistics of who lives longer and who doesn't.
Well, and also we're looking pretty doggone good for our age. I mean, I remember thinking about my grandparents, right? And I was thinking always that they looked old to me. They always looked old to me. But it's fun to see my grandkids. They don't think that I look old, and and I have to remind them, okay, Mima can't do everything you do, So, but it's funny, but they think you're right there with it. So it's pretty cool. Our shifting of our mindset is definitely there. I want to just reach out to those that are listening. If you do have a comment or something that you want to share, again, we would love to be able to have that. Please like our show, enjoy it, share it, make a comment. We'll post that up if you'd like. If you have a question, we're here for you, and we'd love to be able to answer that. If you're there on the YouTube, of course, subscribe to our channel. We would love to be able to share all of our shows with you. So tell us a little bit more about designing a roadmap,
Sure. Well, I mentioned that finance is part of it. I kind of look at it like a three-legged stool. You know, they used to talk about the three-legged stool of retirement being your Social Security, your pension, and your savings. These days, that has changed, and I think there's a new three-legged stool for us to look at, and that is our financial planning, our legal planning, and our social planning. And I am not an expert on the first two. I use the experts myself, and I encourage everyone else to do that, to see a financial planner and talk to him or her about what your income is and what your outflow is and how prepared you are to live another 30 or 40 years or wherever you may be in that trajectory. And it's also important for us to make sure that we do have, as Cece mentioned, not only a will, but an advance directive that will let medical professionals know what you want if you should go into crisis with a stroke or a heart attack or something that renders you unable to speak for yourself. And also a power of attorney. Well, two powers of attorney. Depending on the state you live in, there are different rules, but in most states, creating a power of attorney for finances and a power of attorney for medical are important additions to your legal planning. And I'm not going to go into great depth on either of those, but there's lots of great information out there if you want to learn more about them. Again, the professional in this area is an elder law attorney or an estate attorney. So a lot of people don't go to these professionals because they think that they're extremely expensive, or that in the case of the financial professionals, they put you into all kinds of financial products that don't benefit you as much as they benefit them. And take a look now, because the world has changed and there's a lot of safeguards against that kind of thing. There are a lot of very, very ethical financial planners out there, and people that you can just see once or twice just to get an understanding of where you are with your own retirement planning. Have you done a good job? Do you need to save more? Does it look like you can live to age 95 or 100 with what you have? They have wonderful software that they plug your numbers into, and it gives you an idea of what you're looking at, where you are right now with your own efforts at preparing for retirement. And then the third leg of the stool is the one.
Oh, let's hold on for just one quick minute regarding the third link, because we have to take a quick break. Okay. But I do want to, before we do that, I do want to do a quick plug for the estate attorneys out there, because an estate attorney can actually work with your financial planner to try to start working on some creative means in which to be able to do. So if you own real estate or different things like that, there's trusts that you could do. There's various different elements that will come in play, and you need a professional that knows what they're talking about and that knows the laws in your particular state, and also will understand what needs to take place if you own property in other areas. So it's very, very crucial that if you're looking at planning out your estate, to really go to a professional who knows what they're talking about, and that can be creative in not only saving you taxes, saving you money here today, but also in the future for your family. So I want to do a real plug for that. I did work for an estate attorney, and I loved him dearly. He's deceased now, but I saw the work he did and the savings that he helped and the peace of mind that he created for those. So yeah, it's a real good profession to be in. So let's take a quick break, and I'd like to get to the third leg, the social leg, because today's world, we're really touching on what's happening to us socially. And so I want to be able to, so that we can touch on that and really broaden that up. So everyone out there, we're just going to take a quick break, and I hope you all are enjoying the show as much as I am. And you guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Author's Corner, Meet the Author, and we're showcasing a beautiful author today who's really helping us not only in today's world, but in our future, in our retirement and our solo aging. So I hope that you guys will stick around here. We're just going to have a moment of silence right here on goingsolomedia.com. So, and then we'll come right back to the show. Okay, I want to welcome you guys back. We had a quick break so that we could drop in some of our sponsors who sponsored the show. Quest Fine Jewelers is our sponsor for the show today. We want to do a quick shout out to them. Want to thank them so much for their support in, our station is just awesome. And so it's WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are a internet singles talk network, and we're number one. And I'm just so very pleased to be able to share all of these wonderful hosts and guests that we have on. And so we're going to move right forward on our Author's Corner, Meet the Author. We are really embracing a wonderful author today. Those of you that don't know me, I am Cece Shatz. I'm the Doyenne of relationship building, bringing you these awesome individuals each and every week right here on WGSN-DB. So let's get on back to our author today. Let's bring her right back up. Welcome back, Sara.
Thanks. Happy to be back.
Oh, it's great to have you. Now, Sara, you are a certified retirement coach, a professional speaker, author of The Essence Retirement Planning for Solo Agers and Retirement Aging Roadmap of Singles and Childless Adults. And it's a great book. Hold the book up for us real quick here. There you go. It's right there. So it's real. Guys, you can get it right on Amazon. And we're also going to be showing her website right here. I'm going to put it up for everyone. You can email her at Sara, S-A-R-A, at Life Encore, which is LIFEENCORE.com. Her website is Sara, SARAZEFFGEBER.com. So I want to make sure you guys have that. Well, let's talk a little bit about, I know we talked about the first, now if anyone missed the show, you might have to go back and listen, because we talked about the first two legs, which is also, the retirement part of it is the money, the financial, the legal aspect of it. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the social. So let's talk about that.
Well, that is actually my favorite leg of the stool, and the one that I actually believe is the most important. And I describe the social aspect as being a social network. And we all have to build and nurture our own social network. Now, for a lot of people, that was easy to do when they were working, because their social network revolved around the people that they work with. And that's all well and good until you phase out of that part of your life and move into a different stage. And these days, that different stage doesn't look like sitting in a Barcalounger or playing shuffleboard. Most of us want to go on and do other meaningful kinds of things, whether it's studying art and becoming an artist later in life, or becoming even more passionate about the causes we care about and doing a tremendous amount of volunteer work. There's just, an endless list of things that can occupy our time later in life. And those things also help us build and nurture our social network, because it often changes from the people we know at work to the people we know as we pursue our later life, whatever that's going to look like. So if you find yourself thinking, well, I don't have much of a social network, I just have a couple of close friends and that's it. Or maybe you're saying, well, my social network is really my family. Now, that's all fine. If you have a big family with lots of nieces and nephews and people that are close and they live nearby, that's a perfectly fine social network. But if, like me, you don't have that, and many, many baby boomers don't these days, because families are so widespread all over the country now, all over the world, actually, then we need to develop that amongst the people that we hang out with for other reasons. They're not our family. Maybe they have similar interests to what we have. Maybe they live next door. Maybe they go to our church or synagogue. But these are all places where that social network can be built. Mm-hmm. So again, if you feel like you're in a position where you need to build your social network, look at the opportunities that are out there to join with people that are interested in the same kinds of things you are. And I could start a list that would take the rest of our hour, but things like book clubs and quilting clubs, and I want to really especially underscore the tremendous social opportunities that are available in places of worship. Now, a lot of baby boomers kind of moved away from their places of worship. And I don't mean physically moved away, I mean kind of distanced themselves from the whole formal religion part of life that they may have grown up with. So if you are in that situation, I encourage you to look at the different churches and synagogues that are around you, and mosques, let me include that. Because a lot of these organizations are actually more about building social ties and taking care of one another than they are about worship. I've certainly found that to be true. And I was one of those people who had moved very far away from my own religious roots. And I've come back a little bit, at least enough to join a place of worship where I now have really another large circle of friends. So I underscore that. But of course, there are many, many other ways too. If you're not familiar with an organization called Meetup, the start online, it's meetup.com I think it's .com.
Yep,
and,
.com.
You indicate what you're interested in and where you live. And you will have the opportunity to join meetup groups that actually are near you, where you can go to a coffee shop or someone's house, or if it's a hiking group, then you meet them at the trailhead and begin a hike with them. So I defy you to find an interest group that isn't represented on Meetup. I think there's every possible interest in the universe represented on Meetup. And it's just a matter of finding out where those people are in your neck of the woods, within driving distance for you.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. I started on meetup.com. My group started on there, and that's where my divorce support group is. And I have 9 groups on meetup.com. And all different things. We have travel, and we have going away for the weekend. We have a singles group. We have, the divorce, the transition into dating. We have all that kind of stuff. But they have all kinds of interests, like if you like to go out and hike, if you want to, do volleyball, it's like all kinds of different groups. And it's really a great way to broaden your social environment, most certainly.
Yeah, and I want to underscore that it starts online. You find your groups online, but these are actually physical meetup groups that do things together in the flesh when we're not cowering in our homes because of the virus.
Well, actually, and we also do things online. So and just to say that this Saturday, I'm having a big online gathering. So we're inviting everyone, and you can find it right on Facebook. And the other thing is Facebook is just a wonderful place to connect with people. I have made friends all around the world on Facebook, and it's really it's a great aspect for that. But talking about, because you had brought that up at the very beginning of talking about the social aspect of it, it's truly about the connection with people. Yeah. And it helps us grow not only individually, and socially, but it really inspires us to step out of who we are and embrace other people's lives. Understand that, maybe their life wasn't as easy as maybe ours was, or vice versa. And it really enlightens us to be able to have more empathy for those around us. And so it's truly, I think it's truly a blessing to be able to connect with other people. And so as we get older, our pool starts changing, because we lose lives, and it happens. And so the more that we can have ourselves more socially, the easier for that adjustment will be. And because I see my father today, who, was always a life of everything. He did a lot with regards to, the racing industry and just a lot of different things that he was in. And slowly his pool of friends are going down and down, and it's very difficult. And I remember my grandmother saying to me, the hardest thing for her as she got older was realizing that she was the last one standing. And, that was, she came from a huge family of kids. I mean, there was like 12 or some ungodly amount of numbers, and, everyone started going. And so I think I think your third leg, you are right on the money on that. I think our social aspect to our lives enriches us tremendously.
Absolutely. We're so lucky today that we have our online social connections as well as our in the flesh social connections.
Absolutely.
I really encourage people to get out there and have both. Balance them.
Yeah, you're right with that. And then getting out, it's really important to do things that you really enjoy embracing. And so I really do feel that you're on something there, and it certainly will. It will enlighten your life for sure. And, get you out of the house. It gets you doing other things, even a cooking, there's cooking meetups and things like that. And so it really broadens your environment tremendously, but it gives you a purpose in life. And that's very, very important. We certainly want to keep that, because, when we're younger, our purpose is our work, right? We kind of go around that raising our family and whatever. And so, our purpose has to shift along with us shifting. So great advice, Sara. Very, very good advice. So again, please hold up your book so everyone can see it, so they know when they go on Amazon.com, right there it is. That's what it looks like. So you guys can see it right away. It really helps the Solo Agers. And I know I had trouble saying that there before, but yeah, it's Solo Agers. And I love that. So also, Sara is one of our elite guests. I'd like to point that out. She's on our radio station, which is goingsolomedia.com. She has her own page with all of her links, all of her information right there. So after the show, if you want to go there, all you have to do is just click, and it'll take you right straight into ordering her book. So again, her book is right there. And we hope that you guys will certainly do that. Well, it's coming down to the close here of our show. So again, I wanted to mention that the name of her entitled of her book. You want to read that for us? Your title of your book, Sara?
It's Essential Retirement Planning for Solo Agers.
Okay, so make sure you guys get that book. And then again, let's share your email. It's Sara@lifeencore.com, and the website is Sara Zeff Geber, right? Geber, am I pronouncing it? Geber.com. So I'm going to spell that so you guys have it. So grab your pen. It's SaraZeffGeber.com. So go on her website, check it out. She has a lot more information on there, so we want to make sure that you guys get that. Also, the beauty of a website is that it's updated as time goes on. And so whatever you see today, it's going to be changing in the future. So you definitely want to be more in tune with what's happening in her life, and as she's going and helping other people. So we want to be able to do that. So are there any last words you'd like to share with us today, Sara?
Well, I thought I'd share that if you do go to my website, you'll see that all of the questionnaires and assessments and worksheets from the book can all be gotten on the website. You need to send a request for them, but they're free. And if you're interested in the relationship assessment website, or the change and adaptability quiz, or the building a legacy questionnaire, if you're interested in any of the ones listed, all you do is just send an email, and they'll be sent to you in return email.
That's wonderful. Now, also, Sara, do you do one-on-one helping them with coaching? Do you do that?
I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore. I feel that my message needs to go out to a bigger audience. So I do mostly speaking engagements. Right now I'm doing them online. I'm putting together some webinars, and I'm doing things like this where I do reach a larger audience. So if anyone is interested in retirement coaching one-on-one, please email me, though, because I can refer you to a couple of excellent retirement coaching organizations that have coaches all over the country.
Oh, that's wonderful. You know, you are such a beautiful person. I want to thank you so much for sharing everything. And I hope that you'll keep us in mind when you do your speaking engagements, so we can put them up as events so that everyone knows. And if it happens to be in their town, you know, they can actually take advantage of it. Or if it's online, which would be wonderful, they can, and you can live anywhere then and be able to embrace it. So that would be awesome to be able to do that. So I want to thank you so much today. You've just been a star, and I really do feel that what you have to say today will help many people as they travel through, you know, understanding not only their own retirement, but also their families, you know, as their parents continue on getting a little bit older, how they can embrace that, how they can move forward in that and not be blindsided, because so often that's what happens to us is like, oh my gosh, you know, I've got to now take care of mom or dad, and what am I going to do, and how are we going to manage, and then also how we help them to also deal with it mentally, you know. So it's really we embrace our youth so much, but I do think we need to prepare before being a senior. I think we have to prepare for that. And and you've done a great job with opening our eyes to that. So thank you.
Feel nice to
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, everyone. So again, I'm going to put her information up here. Her email is sarah@lifeencore.com. Her website is Sara Zeff, and it's Geber, Geber.com. So again, I'm going to spell it SARAZEFFGEBER.com. So I want to thank you again so much for being on the show. We truly appreciate it, and we appreciate your time. So thank you.
Thank you, Cece.
Okay. Now, again, if you guys want to get our book, it's right on Amazon.com. We have the links right on our website on goingsolomedia.com. And then, of course, you can find it right there on her website. So you don't want to miss out. You definitely need to start making a plan. This is a great month to do it. We're kind of locked down in our houses. It's time to get creative, think about our futures. Let's start putting our roadmap together. Let's start planning. Let's start arranging things that we need to do, put things in place. And Sarah, I want to thank you so much for opening our eyes to the importance of our futures. So thank you very, very much. Okay. We hope you'll join us again sometime on the show. Keep us apprised of your speaking engagement so that we can join you on that and support you. And we want to thank you so much.
Love to. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. All right, everyone. Time went by very quickly. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did, and I hope you learned something along the way. We really do want to embrace our lives today and tomorrow, and so I think Sarah really is on the right path for that. And again, she's a certified retirement coach, and she's a professional speaker, author of a wonderful book. I do urge you to get it. It's the Essential Retirement Planning for Solo Agers. It's a retirement and aging roadmap for singles and childless adults. And so as we move forward and our parents move forward, it will help us to be able to embrace the needs that they need to go through and also plan for ours. So, and we want to plan for what we want in our future, right? Not what our kids are going to kind of be stuck with, but if we could put a map together of what it is that we want, how beautiful that would be, and it would ease things up for them. And we also know in our own hearts that, you know, we're going to be dealt with the way we want it to be dealt with. So I think Sarah is on the right road here. Again, it's Sara Zeff Geber, and I hope that you will contact her and definitely buy her book. Go right on goingsolomedia.com. All her information is right there, and it's just beautiful to have her. I want to thank her for her support here, being an elite guest and supporting us here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. Again, you're listening to the Author's Corner, Meet the Author. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Our website is goingsolomedia.com. Please like us, share everything, subscribe, follow us, and we'll see you back here next week, same time. I'm Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of relationships, and I love you, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye for now.